I think the Lions have been doing a great job at not showing their hand, not tipping their hand at all. I think credit to Holmes, credit to Campbell as well. But I genuinely think no one has any idea what they're going to do. Pride of Detroit talked about this, that it could go any way. That there's always, like, anytime they talk about quarterbacks, there's always this, oh, but then in the last sentence, he said something that leaves the door open. Or, they
Right.
talk about Goff. He's our guy. We love what he does. He finished out the season 3-1, great pass, 108 passer rating. But if we like a guy, we're, if we, and it's like there's
Like
always
the guy,
this,
we're gonna take him.
there's always this, and then so I think they've done a fantastic in Brad Holmes down in, was that Palm Beach? All the press conferences and when he was on McAfee's show, just I think they're doing a great job of not giving anything away. And what this made me think of was Dan Campbell's sort of persona. We've talked about this on the show in the past, that he sort of has this persona, and I think this is on purpose, and I think he purposefully lets people believe that he is a meathead. And I think Dan Campbell is much smarter than he presents. And I think if he wasn't, then he would have slipped up by now. In some way, shape, or form, we would have much more information on who they're going to take
Right.
at 2. And we don't. We just don't. And I think that speaks to Dan Campbell's savvy. We all know that, he's a great motivator, players coach. They talk about that all the time. But I think he's much, much smarter than he lets on. And I think he's fine with people believing that. And that goes back to Rod Wood, president of operations, said something down in Palm Beach when it was announced, when he was asked about Hard Knocks. Right. Lions being on Hard Knocks. And he said, if you like Dan Campbell now, you're going to love him on Hard Knocks. And I think that's because what people know of him now is the rah-rah, do a press conference in a racing helmet, biting kneecaps. We know, we know the sort of the fun side, or the sort of the showman.
And the media highlights what people want to pick apart.
And I think Hard Knocks is really going to highlight this sort of knock on him that, you need an X's and O's guy. You need an X's and O's guy. And I think maybe that's what Rod Wood meant a little bit, is that there is this other side to this guy that not a lot of people know, because he's sort of, he's like, what, 6'4", 260, and like still is like wide as a door frame at,
he's a monster in person.
Yeah. And, he's got these, he speaks slowly. He's got that, like the whole dude affect. And I think there is a very functional brain on those shoulders. And I think that's what I think people are really going to start to realize on Hard Knocks. And that's another reason why I'm very excited about them on Hard Knocks. And that's it.
I think that he probably, So John, to add on to that is, I'm sure he learned a couple tricks from Sean Payton.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
I bet that he's got a couple tricks up his sleeve that he's learned from Sean that we have no idea, that we might find out down the road. And this is one of them, hey, look over here, like he's done, but I'm really working over here, look over here. I do still think that there's a chance they take Malik with all of this and not having him in. I think that, in my opinion, just real quick, back to Malik train, is that I think they've learned everything that they need to know from the Senior Bowl, and they don't really need to talk to him. So they either know, they know everything they need to know to make the decision. I'm not sure that they have their decision, because, like we're going to talk about, the number 1 pick is up for grabs right now.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it is Aiden Hutchinson. I think that, we can talk about that. But anyway, John, that's all I wanted to add on, is I think Sean Payton still has some influence, over what Dan Campbell's doing now and what he learned there.
For sure. And to that, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say, I feel like he has been coached up, right? Because I think if we remember what Dan Campbell was like last season, especially during the offseason and at moments during the season, dude couldn't keep a lid on anything. Like he literally just like spoke his mind. And I do believe
so funny and true.
I believe at some point in time, once the offseason hit, like him and Brad, because they say that they talk all the time, that they are collaborative, that they are joined at the hip. I'm sure he sat him down as a coworker, as a friend, and was like, bruh, you can't keep spilling. Like, you're as bad as Tom Holland with these Avenger like stuff. Like, you can't keep just going out here and just saying whatever you feel. And that's why, like, I believe what Dan Campbell is doing now, I don't believe that he all of a sudden became this master manipulator, right? I don't believe he's all of a sudden.
No, but he might have Sean Payne on speed dial. When can he be a part of the leadership team?
I think what we're seeing here is a little bit of coaching, right? Him being coached up in how to handle the media. But I think Dan Campbell is still Dan Campbell at his core. And so I think when we're hearing him speak and him talk about these different things, it's almost like he's playing a game of like two truths and a lie, right? Like something, he just can't help himself, right? And I really kind of
funny.
I really do kind of like this analogy of comparing him to Tom Holland, because if you've ever seen Tom Holland do an interview when he's in a Marvel movie, the dude can't help himself. Like he's been told repeatedly, like, do not spill secrets about the movie. And if you get him talking enough, it's something little, and you can always like tell, because like you'll watch the video back and he reacts to it and he's just like, oh, I wasn't supposed to say that.
Okay.
And that's what I feel about Dan Campbell is, like, at his core, he is still saying something. They've just taught him to say enough stuff where you don't know which thing is the truth. And that's why, like, listening to, or reading up on like his comments this past week, I believe the thing that he's probably telling the truth about is, one, why they've been investing so much into Kayvon Thibodeau, right? His explanation of, we're trying to check every box. There's a couple of things that, we want to be sure on before we either rule him as our pick or rule him out as our pick. I think that's honest. I think that is very truthful of why they are doing so much due diligence.
Yeah, just internal ranking.
Well, because it's a dude that at one point in time was a consensus number one pick. So you would think, like, shouldn't you guys already have this buttoned up? And he's saying no. Like, no, there's some things that we still kind of want to discuss and we want to go through and review and whatever. So I believe he's being very honest about that. I think he's also being very honest that they do want a player that they can plug and play and expect to get big time production out of.
Immediate impact.
Yeah, I believe that is very much true. That they would love to get somebody that is either going to be guaranteed a starting role or is going to compete heavily for a starting role, or at least be in a strong rotation to get on the field a lot this upcoming season. So that only leaves the only thing I can think of that he's probably lying about is the quarterback situation, right? I believe that he is lying about that, in that the lie is that, like, that they love this draft class, right? I don't think they do.
Oh,
or at least they don't.
Okay.
Or I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Much as much as they love Jared Goff. And I don't think that they're like looking at this draft class like, well, we have to bring in one of these guys to compete with Jared. I don't think that's high on their list. And him saying that it is, I think, is just, again, fodder just to, kind of just have that out in the wind. Look
over here.
Yeah, maybe you do spook a team, behind you that maybe feels like maybe they bite on the bait that, like, well, the Lions really will take Malik at 2, and maybe you get a trade partner.
They might. So here's the other thing, right? And I just say that, like, the way in which things fall on draft day, a lot of this will happen day before, when people actually start having to make a decision. Everything we're talking about now is all hypotheticals, and I love it. Don't get me wrong. But we have no idea. Like, they could have Malik as their number 1 on their board of rankings, but they could, whatever.
Yeah, but then that makes everything else, like, but then again, like I said, it's still playing two truths and a lie. Like,
correct.
He's just lying about something different.
Correct.